Den of Geeks, Andrew Blair, who mostly writes apparently about Doctor Who, is demanding that fans embrace change. But his idea of change is not change at all. It's basically an agenda. After Andre at Minute's Edge posted that video yesterday about this, I had to have my 2 cents worth. I was insulted by this article. The guy goes through, let's see, he goes through Gamergate. Why? What relevancy does that have to do with the Lord of the Rings and Tolkien? He goes through Star Wars, and then Ghostbusters 2016, where basically he trashes Afterlife. We were supposed to like a reboot because it had women in it. It wasn't good, and it wasn't because the women were in it. It just wasn't good. But this guy can't accept the fact that no one liked the show because it wasn't good. And then he goes after Star Wars fans. Change comes from real change, good change. Growth comes not from completely destroying what was there before, but from complementing it and adding on. And this is what I want to talk about today on this video upload, and I hope you all enjoy it, because I'm a little bit miffed with this guy. And I'll tell you why in a minute. It's a fascinating tale of confirmation bias on his part. So here we go. Hey guys, this is Steph. I just wanted to sit here with my phone in my hand and talk to you guys about this. Den of Geeks, of course, had this article on there basically demanding that we embrace change. But the change that he talks about isn't what we got. The change was destroy the past, kill it if you have to, okay? That has happened everywhere, and now it's happening with the Rings of Power, or whatever it is called, which, because they can't use Silmarillion, is based on the appendices. And it's basically being showrun by a FOJA, Friends of J.J. Abrams. All right, that's how they got the job. You look at the showrunners' IMDb page, there's no resume. None. But this is the problem with leftist activists. They don't understand storytelling without it being politically charged. They don't, and by the virtue of this article, I can say this guy's probably a leftist activist. He's probably a member of the Scottish Labour Party. He's probably has pronouns on his Twitter bio. Okay, everything in the article points to that. So my respect for him is none. It doesn't exist. This is why. First off, that quote by Tolkien, basically, I'll give you the paraphrase because I can't remember it off the top of my head. But basically, those who do evil, evil can't create. It just destroys. Okay, and it's appeared everywhere. And any thread of that has to do with the Rings of Power, but it has to do something. But it has to do with everything made. George Lucas said, "Those who destroy culture are barbarians." This guy, by virtue of embracing everything that is toxic, when I mean radical leftist ideology, progressive, racist, critical race theory, third wave feminism, radical LGBTQ XYZ, I don't give a fuck, okay? That is evil, okay? I am not going to mince words. I am not going to sit there and sugarcoat it. I'm not going to sit there and say, yeah, that's your opinion, you're entitled to it. Sure you are. You're entitled to an informed opinion, okay? And when you go into a franchise like Tolkien's masterpiece, the Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, you go into Star Wars and you systematically undermine everything that the creators put into it. You are evil and you are a cultural barbarian. You are a member of the cultural Taliban, okay? All right? It's frustrating for people like us to sit there and have to deal with this, because ultimately it doesn't really have anything to do with the franchise itself. Let me explain. The people that do the High Republic, they're not Star Wars fans. They're not. It is not what you say, it's what you do, okay? The people that are in the story group, they have about as much energy, except for Leland Chee, they have about as much enthusiasm for Star Wars as I would a dental exam, all right? They're apathetic at best, okay? They're very happy about pronouns in their bios, Matt Martin, mentioning BLM and Antifa in their bios on Twitter, Pablo Hidalgo. Nothing about working at Lucasfilm for him. And he turns around and talks about Star Wars ad nauseum on Twitter, at least in his public profile. And still, even after being outed for what he did to Star Wars Theory and the rest of us, he still has enough trust in his life to have a private profile where, he talks shit about everybody. I'm like, I am done with this. It's going to come. Look, it even goes to the thing where Valiant Renegade today talked about the fact that the bookings for the Star Wars Hotel are going down. And you have a shill in a tweet saying, this is every 12 years fantasy, blah, blah, blah. You people are just bad-mouthing it. First off, when I read the tweet, it was desperation. Second of all, fine, if you like the sequel trilogy, that's fine. You're one of 5 people who do. Might I remind this guy, they're not selling hardly any sequel trilogy stuff in the parks anymore. None. And you can have someone say, well, it's a supply chain problem. No, it's not. People don't want it. Collectors don't want it. I don't want it. I don't have any. I collect. All right? It is not that difficult to understand the reality. But this guy, this Blair dude, Andrew Blair, and the tweeter that Valiant Renegade talked about, I'll put a link in the description to his video, are delusional. All right? They, I think, inside know that they've got problems with the financial stuff at Disney. They know that it doesn't sell. But and when I see a tweet like that, it was defensive. And it just tells me that he is defensive of it. And when someone's defensive, you know that they know the end is nigh, that there's something going on, that there's something wrong happening. And I've thought for a while now that things are speeding up quicker than conversations I've had with other people. I think things are speeding up quicker than they were 2 weeks ago. All right? Lin-Wen Brennan, #2 at Lucasfilm, is getting a Lifetime Achievement Award. Is that her part of her severance? I don't know. All right? Kennedy got honored by the PGA, and she's gonna have to share that award with George Lucas. She got a festival award from someplace in Ireland. She's lost all of her stuff at Disney that she had on the books. I'm still looking for The Acolyte to be announced as canceled, or sold off, or taken away by Leslie Headland elsewhere. I'm looking for the High Republic to be canceled, to be honest, and I think that's going to happen very, very, very soon. There's a lot of moving parts, and you can feel it. Like even the picture of her taken at Galaxy's Edge. Even if it's a real picture, and it could be, why is she wearing a winter jacket? She's wearing the exact same clothes, except for a lanyard with her ID badge that she wore up in northern England last June. I've got the photographic evidence. What's going on here? Okay, but let's go back to the article. Why should fandoms embrace something that is anathema, a 180 from what the franchise was about? Why should fandoms embrace feminazi crap in 2016? Ghostbusters 2016. All right. They don't have to. Again, the market didn't like it. The market is rational, okay? And if the market says, meh, it's not going anywhere, okay? The fans didn't like it. Sorry, ladies. Sorry. Why should fans embrace the TFA, TLJ, and TROS? Why? When it basically takes the OT and makes it irrelevant. Everything the three heroes did was irrelevant. It basically erased Anakin's whole story. It erased Han's story, it erased Leia's story. Why? Here's how you go and progress in a story. A soft handoff. Han saying, I'm retired, and telling his son, not Ben Solo, because that character's got to go, to Jason or Anakin Solo, or Sam Solo, or Will Solo, or Fredo Solo, I don't care, to his son, I'm giving you the Falcon, you need a fast ship. The kid is getting an inheritance. It's about passing on heritage and giving the kid his blaster. Okay, that says something. Luke handing Anakin's blaster to Jaina Solo, or his own son. That is a continuance. These kids, do they change the story? Yes, because they're different characters. But they create another part of the story that doesn't undermine. It solidifies everything that came behind it. When you try to kill the past, it comes back and bites you in the ass. Okay, which is exactly what's going on with Star Wars sequel trilogies, because no one likes them. They're eminently forgettable. The characters are terrible. Okay, no one wants to see the heroes that they've had for 40 years ruined and shit on. Now, granted, there might be a contingent of fans who personify the characters as their own parents who, for some reason, didn't give them everything they wanted. I mean, that could be. That could be. Okay, we could actually have that, but that's not true. All right, there are plenty of kids who grew up in broken homes. When I was a kid growing up, my best friend's dad and mom were divorced. That absolutely was horrified by the sequel trilogy, okay? So if you're such a mental patient that you need to see you up there on the screen, you need help. And I'm not talking about a priest, a rabbi, an imam, whatever. You need serious clinical help. Okay? Star Wars is timeless. By making it about a certain relevant political issue, you cease the timelessness, you kill that. You make it relevant, and then you take away the timelessness, and you undermine the franchise. It's about family. When J.J. Abrams walks up to Daisy Ridley and says, how would you feel to be a Palpatine? They had no plan. I mean, but we're supposed to embrace that? Because it's change? Look, change doesn't necessarily mean better, Mr. Blair. Okay? And in this case, it's shit. Okay? Or in your vernacular, shite. It's shite. It doesn't make sense. You know? It's shit. So let's go further. Let's go to the Galaxy's Edge Hotel. It's cheap. It's lame. And when the first people that actually get to stay there, the people are paying, who are not shills being paid to go to it, Disney's going to get an earful. And they know it. Bob Chapek knows. Okay? They're going to have to change it. They're going to have to give fans what they want. And I'll leave you guys with this. I want you to understand something. If you go and watch all the Super Bowl ads from this year, they're aimed at the Generation X. My generation. Why? Millennials don't own their own houses. They don't make any money. Zoomers will be lucky if they have a house to live in after Biden's done. And there's another reason why we're not going to see the sequel trilogy go on. All right? When you've got people saying, I took my kids to see the sequel trilogy, they hated it. That's not Star Wars. When you take the kids to a sequel trilogy and they're so high from being engrossed in that galaxy far, far away, you've just hit the jackpot. Families share things like this. This is something that George Lucas wanted to do. And the people who say embrace change even if it sucks, they have no idea what they're talking about. You know, again, if your mom and dad weren't good to you, not my problem. So stop making Star Wars about that shit. Okay? All right? It is not your political playground. And if the Galaxy's Edge Hotel sucks, and it does, too much money for a dumpster fire, and you feel the need to defend it, why? Fandoms don't have to brace change if it's terrible. And if the Tolkien fans are pissed off about Rings of Power, good for them. Why? Because they don't have to embrace garbage. Just like Star Wars fans, the majority of them don't have to embrace garbage. And oh, by the way, the Galaxy's Edge Hotel tweeter saying that we YouTubers were a minority. That's how delusional this motherfucker is. Are we a minority? Look at this. Look at the merchandise sales. That is reality. I dare any one of these people to embrace reality and look at the reality of what they're talking about. Okay? But maybe they're too afraid to. It's an echo chamber that they live in. And if they're forced to see reality for what it is, they won't be able to handle it. This is Steph signing out. I'll see you around the galaxy.